G'day, how are we? It's a bit hard to find out how you are, but hope you're well. Welcome to the 15 Years of Reom podcast. What an absolute fucking spin out that is to say. We created Reom in 2009 and we're still here, we're still standing and still going strong. So a big massive thank you to every single one of you that have supported us over the past 15 years, whether that's liking and sharing a post, hashtag subscribe, buying some merch, and just in few and far between, like everything in between. I mean, it's honestly, so many people have helped out. It's wild. So just going to start out from the get-go. Huge thank you to Luke Jobson, aka Ginga. You'll never guess what hair colour he used to have. But yeah, he's the man behind the OG Slime logo. He's the man behind our website, our shop, keeps the emails up and running. Just all the technical behind the scenes stuff he helps out with massively. And without Ginga and Kyle Schlemitz, I wouldn't own a yellow AE86. So super cool and super thankful to Luke Jobson. Of course, all the boys on Reom, even those from the past, excellent stuff. Like it honestly like heartwarming. Just how much everyone gets behind it and helps support. So it's a real team effort. I'm just so thankful and so grateful. Super cool. So 15 years of Reom. Absolute spin out. And we're just going to keep charging. So we did plan to have some 15 years of Reom merch out to celebrate. A little bit of a hold up on that. It'll probably come out in the new year. But hey, we'll milk this 15 years for a bit. So I think it was originally November 2009 that Reom got created. So yeah, little bit behind, but hey, no rush. So a few weeks ago, I asked you guys if you had any questions, and we'd answer them. So we'll get through that. We'll share a yarn, and hopefully you guys enjoy. All right. Also, if you start seeing the sweat dripping down, I'm running under a really bright hot light and no aircon. So hey, and it's a Queensland summer as well. So you get that on the big jobs. Hopefully it's not too disgusting. All right, let's jump into these questions. A few of them as well were kind of similar. So we'll just sort of answer them all under the one banner. What started Reom and what was your idea at first? How did I come up with Reom and what was your first main goal when I created Reom and current future goals? So ripper questions. We'll dive straight in. I got the name Reom because I used to go film Luke Fink back when he was driving the Holfords S14, and one particular evening I'd flew down to Melbourne and Luke wasn't there. He was in somewhere else, but we're all meeting up later. So his boys came and picked me up. That's Luke Jobson and Kyle Schlemitz and Kingy. And they were like, "Oh, you're in for a treat tonight, brother. We're going to take you to a Westmeet." Now, guys in Victoria will know what a Westmeet is, but if you don't know what a Westmeet is, pretty much it's like burnouts on the street in industrial areas and it goes wild. There's even I'm pretty sure you can look it up on YouTube, Westmeet Bob Jane T-Mart. So little quick side story. Ages ago, Bob Jane, or Rodney Jane, cancelled summer nats or power crews at Calder Park because he owns Calder Park and he also has Bob Jane T-Marts. And so people at Westmeets, smartly enough, rioted and destroyed a Bob Jane T-Mart store. So nothing like a bit of herd mentality. But that's part of a Westmeet. Anyway, that was a few years after this. The guys are like, "We're going to take you to a Westmeet." And I was young. I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's street drifting." I was like, "Oh, sick. That's going to be cool." It was a crack up. It wasn't street drifting. Back in the day, it used to be, they told me it used to just be them, but it turned into a bit of a burnout fest. So anyway, they picked me up from the airport. We're in Ginga's dad's Prius. and we're cruising to this industrial estate, and you start hearing the skids and whatnot, and there was a crazy amount of people. Like, I'm not exaggerating. There would have been at least 300 to 400 people lining this industrial area. And they're all yelling, "Reom! Reom!" And then, like, sort of like Moses parting the seas, at the end of the cul-de-sac, there were two white VP Commodores, sort of nose to nose, just doing a burnout and trying to pop the tyres first. See who popped the tyres first. And yeah, like I said, everyone was yelling Reom. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And then, that trip was actually, we went down to Tasmania, down to Baskerville, and I think, we were all just yelling Reom the whole time. Like Matt Russell, Nigel Petrie was there, and Jake Jones. It was quite a funny trip, and Luke, obviously. And so that's kind of where I got the name from. What started it was to sort of paint a picture. At the time, in drifting, there was, like, don't get me wrong, there was a strong sort of grassroots scene, but it's nothing like it is now. And everyone thought that you had to be a pro. Being pro was the way in drifting. Being pro was what was going to get drifting to the next level. And I just I didn't see drifting like that. I sort of acquainted drifting more with skating. And I thought that's the way we should be going down. We should be promoting drifting in a sort of extreme sport light, not trying to become another V8 Supercars or Formula One type series. So, that was my idea. I just wanted to have a drifting equivalent of a skate brand, So you have your drivers on there, and, they rep the merch, and we sell merch, and then that's how it sort of pays for everything. That was the plan, the first main goal, I actually had two. So as I sort of alluded to then, the first main goal was to make money to be able to pay for the boys driving. I used to see all these dudes that I know that could absolutely steer, but they didn't have the money to go compete in these competitions. And then, so like, these guys in these pro competitions, which, don't get me wrong, there were some good drivers, but there was also a lot of shit drivers that just copped the title. But they had the money to go do it. And I wanted to put the guys I knew that could steer in a position to be able to go drive. So we're still nowhere near getting that goal. And that kind of eats me up inside. I kind of feel like, I failed then. But as I reflect on it, the only thing I failed on was sort of like an impatient timeline, and not just and as you live, you learn. So we haven't quite achieved that goal yet, but we're still charging, we're still going for it, and that is still definitely up there with the priority.
Very good. Now, Mesh, as the number one Reom driver at the moment, we might have to talk about my pay going up from roughly somewhere above zero.
Don't tell anyone.
The second sort of goal was just to show everyone that this is the way. Just to inspire other people to make their own drift brands and represent their own sort of style. So for Reom, what I want is the best drivers who know how to have fun. Because that to me is like the ultimate driver's driver. They're smart, they're calculated, they're absolute weapons behind the wheel, but they know how to have fun. They're not little pussies that dance around rules and whatnot. So, and then everyone else has their own sort of style, and I just wanted people to show that. So, that's pretty much that sort of part. And I think we did. I think, just going off what some of the young fellas have sort of spoken to me about over the years, I think we have sort of achieved that. So, I'm pretty pumped on it all. So, because back then there was no sort of drift brands. That everyone sort of was, like I said, going down this pro sort of avenue. And even on the video side as well, like you had Andrew Hawkins, he was doing, I don't think it was Motive back then, I think it was still Ignition. But that was sort of more like rundowns on the cars, and then like highlight action. It was, and like royalty free music, which Andrew had to do. Like, you got to use royalty free music to do everything above board. But it wasn't, my kind of wasn't the cake I'd like to eat. Like I prefer a sort of skate style montage, like to music, like bit of a storyline and all that. And then you also had I want to call him Was. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he kind of also did he was more in line with the skate montage style, but it still wasn't quite fully there. And same as Hoon TV, those two as well. They were sort of old school Australian drift videographers at the time. I'm sure there was but yeah, those three guys, yeah, they were the ones charging and whatnot, and yeah, they weren't quite. Whilst I appreciate everything they did, and especially Hoon TV and Wazza, like I said, it was more in line. And no one was really doing the skateboard montage style, so I also wanted to bring that to drifting. In saying that, looking across the ditch, there was a fair bunch of us that I'd say sort of started at the same time, and the guys in America absolutely sort of killed it, like your Will Rogies, your Joshua Herons, Justin Shreve, Joe Alea, those guys. So that was kind of. I wouldn't say inspiring, but it was just more like, oh shit, yeah, let's push our own style here. Like these guys are going hard. Over in the UK and Europe, you had Clash Production. He did awesome videos as well. Really sort of cool stuff. So yeah, that's the stuff. Sort of like I said, I just wanted to make bring the skateboard montage style to drifting in Australia and sort of bring that sort of drift brand, skate brand vibe as well. Future goals, as mentioned, I need to get the boys money. I really want the boys to not have to chip in. I would love to be able to provide them stuff. But yeah, we're not quite there yet, but we'll keep going. In saying that, I think I've still provided some cool experiences. They've got all these videos and photos and memories over the years. So I think that's pretty cool. But moving into the future, I'd like to also, as you guys might have noticed on, what we've been posting on Reom, I'd like to incorporate a bit more sort of circuit racing stuff and, I'd love to get rally in there as well. But just to really show that all disciplines, it doesn't matter, a good driver can appreciate good driving skill. So, yeah, like I said, that's what I'm about. So I'd love to just incorporate that more. And yeah, there's a couple other things, but there are also questions later down the line, so we'll answer that. Yeah. So moving on to the next question, and it just ties right into what we were saying there. Will we see another DVD, and when will you do yearly videos again? So actually in 2020, Kyle and I were at the pub and we were talking about this, and I mentioned that 2020 I want to do another DVD. And he was like, oh, dude, you should call it 020, 10 years since 010, which, if anyone hasn't figured out, 010, it's just 2010 minus the 2. So, in a very artsy hipster way. But yeah, so 2020, we were absolutely roaring to go on that. And then the big C happened, and you get that on the big jobs. But the thing for me is how I used to do the DVDs is I would just film everything over the year, have a loose sort of idea of a clip, a song I'd want to use for the driver, and we'd go back and forth with the driver, see what they were thinking and what they liked. Some of them didn't care, some had more input than others kind of thing. And naturally, I would love to step it up more. So I'd love to get a bit more organized, be able to actually construct, a film day and be able to get the shots I want, instead of just sort of hoping for the best at a random track day, be it a comp or an open practice day kind of thing. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one as well. We're all getting older, so a few of the boys they got kids. They got houses they got to pay for. Not everyone is full tilt on the drifting, because as well, the cars they're driving are a bit. They've got a bit more going on in them now. They're not just your normal standard Sylvia with coilovers. Kyle's got a bit of a weapon of a rig. Rombouts, he's got his car sorted. It's just like Ben Jenkins, D1NZ, Keske, he was doing D1NZ as well. Yeah, so I just naturally, I'd love the next DVD to be something really epic. So to achieve that, that's obviously going to take money and time and planning, and I might just have to think of a different sort of approach to achieve what I want. So definitely still keen. Definitely, yeah, it's in the pipeline. Just when that pipeline's gonna come out, I'm not sure. So yeah. All right. This next one, this is gonna get pretty deep, and hopefully I can convey everything I feel. I'm great at conveying by typing up and writing, and sometimes I get stumbled on my words. But we're working on that. We're human. So next question: what does Reckham represent, and why do you feel that way? And who is the M in Reckham? So I did kind of write a little thing down. Reckham to me is pushing your own style to the limit, and I suppose I feel that way because I've always sort of been outside the circle, to not wanting to follow the masses, to the point sometimes I'll stop doing something if everyone else is into it, which is such a fucking stupid mindset. But we've grown out of that. That's all right. Still haven't watched Game of Thrones, but. But yeah, like very early on in my life, I could kind of tell that people weren't being true to themselves because they were trying to fit in, whether that's someone that's bullying someone so they can appear cooler to the person that appears to be cool, like, and then, subsequently they're not standing up for what's right, what's just, and then, in drifting, like, it provides the perfect snapshot of what's going on in the world. Like, people love to say, like, oh, this is why I love drifting, or this is why I got out of drifting, because, the people are wankers, or, like, I love drifting because it's such a community feel. I broke my car and everyone came and helped me. If you haven't realized yet, like, that happens in every community in the world. Both. Because it's almost like humans are good and bad. And it's not black or white, it's grey, a little thing called nuance. So, what does Reckham represent, and why do I feel that way? It's just, Reckham is what I want to see in drifting. Obviously I get influenced by things I like, and I want to emulate that and then do it in my own style, but just not following the herd. And yeah, I feel like we've done that. I feel like we've sort of carved out our own little spot. I feel like we're unique. And yeah, I feel that way because of the way I look out at the world. There's a lot of people that are struggling with being themselves, and that is everyone. Everyone goes through this, but some of us reach it later than others, and some people don't even reach it. They never realize. But, I see it every time I go on Instagram, whether it be like people stop liking someone's post because someone else said that dude's shit, or people hating on an engine choice because some dude with 100,000 followers said that engine's shit. Like, all that shit, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And there's so much noise in the world, and it's good to ignore it. And like, as I say this stuff, like, I'm not immune to it. Like, I'm not immune to it at all. Like, one of my worst traits that, I've been working on is, I'm a deep thinker, but I never was in control of my emotions. So, a lot of the stuff I could see happening, I feel like I was right and just in calling out. But then the way you sort of go about it, if you can't control your emotions, like, well, then you're the bad person. There's a great sort of statement like, the first part of anger isn't your fault, but the second part is. And that's just saying, like, how you react to everything. So I think, just sort of fighting our way through this world. And yeah, so that's a fair bit of waffle to take in, but Reckham, that's what it means to me. Just showing the world your own style, not conforming, and just appreciating what we got going on. Who is the M in Reckham? That's everyone. It's like Reckham, wreck everyone with your own mentality. What's the classic saying, like, let your driving do the talking kind of thing, which I know is kind of rich because I love talking shit, but that's because I like entertaining, a bit of comedic genius, So yeah, that's the way I see it. Like, let the driving do the talking, let the style do the talking. You know. Yeah, hopefully that answered that. That was a bit of a waffle, but I think it makes sense. All right, next question. Favorite skate vid, and how did skate videos influence you? So, firstly, I'll just come out and state, like, I'm not a skater. I can drop in and do one of the worst ollies you've ever seen. But, yeah, I'm not a skater, but fuck do I love skating. And pretty much it's just because of the style. The whole, like, the montages, they're good, they're fun. The not give a fuck about what everyone else is doing sort of attitude. And then also, like, and this is the kicker, and actually Jerry Seinfeld and Chris Rock have a great sort of little thing on Cars and Comedians about it. But, you know, in skating, you're throwing your body a bunch of concrete, you're hurting yourself, and you keep picking yourself up again and again and again until you achieve the goal. So in life, like, I've always thought, like, people always like, oh, I can't do that. I could never do that. Like, I fucking hate that. You can do anything you want in the world. And, you know, like, someone's like, oh, well, you know, if you got no legs, you can't be a runner, can you? But, like, you know, like, what I'm getting at is, in life, we all have different journeys. We all have different paths, you know? Like, some people are born into a well-off family and they appear they have it very easy. And they would. For a lot of portion, you know, a lot of parts in their life, it would be easy. But they'd probably have to deal with some shit we wouldn't. Like, you know, like, oh, fucking, I'm being jealous of this. Anywho, like, you know, as long as you're mentally tough, you can go out and achieve it. And if you actually want to achieve it, you can. So that's why I love skating and all that. As opposed to favorite skater videos. So, like, you know, I'm not on some, like, Search of Animal Chin stuff, or like, they're great videos, they're fun to watch. But the one that really sort of sold me was sort of maybe Pretty Sweet, because it was like that new sort of style, you know, like smooth cam stuff. But yeah, it was just very well put together, I'd say. And it was like that modern montage sort of thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for the old school fisheye stuff as well. But the biggest, like, if we want to talk about video influence, the biggest influence for me was Ice and Seven. So Ice and Seven are a snowboarding sort of crew from Europe. And yeah, when I stumbled upon their videos, I was absolutely in love. I'm not a snowboarder, never really been into snowboarding. Done it a couple times. It's fun for sure. But, you know, I'm not keeping up to dates with all things snowboarding. But Ice and Seven, just their montages. Like, if you watch them, you could probably be like, Sam Mez is straight up bitten that. So, yeah. And then another one, video inspiration is, now this may seem obvious, but old school motorsport, which, like, you know, obviously the designs and everything. I mean, I've even got a couple tattoos of old school drivers there. But the actual way the camera works on old school motorsport, like, it's sort of a sharp pan and that heavy, quick zoom in. That was exciting. That's thrilling. You know, that shows the speed of these cars. Whereas now, the way races are broadcast are to show the advertisers. You know, like, it's in the promoter's best interests to show the advertising, and those shots they show, they're not the best shots to show motorsport. So yeah, those are sort of the ones. And yeah, while we're talking inspiration, Passport, the Australian skate brand, they're a huge one just for the whole sort of brand journey. Sorry, I just seen a bit of someone's dropped the Perkins mobile. There's a bit of a dent there. I can't have that. But yeah, there we go. That's that one. On to the next question. Oh, and this is a doozy. Macy and Mullins. The good and bad of drifting in the past 15 years and the 3 worst trends. Geez, how long's a piece of string, Macy? Ripper question. So we'll go straight into the big one. And this category, it's good and bad. So maybe I'll start with the bad and we'll end on a positive note. But vloggers. The bad bit. The bad bit is, it's just, I fully get the vloggers where they're building stuff, they're creating stuff, they're keeping you informed, or like they're at events, you know, like Alexi in Japan, kind of those vlogs are awesome to watch, very informative. But some of the stuff, I'm like, you know, some of these personalities, they're, they're about as funny as a rice cracker. Like they've got no personality, no character whatsoever, but they got like hundreds of thousands of followers. And on top of that, these people as well have just kind of come out of nowhere. You know, I'm talking about not like the OG people like Alexi and all that, but, you know, like some of these newer vloggers with big followings, like they got no sense of history, no sense of nothing. So then their followers don't learn any history. And then, you know, next thing you know, they're on a D1GP live stream talking about Samet. Like, you know, like it's just, yeah. And I also feel like just the whole, like that to me is very fucking, I don't know why you holding it is different to like me filming myself, but it's just, I don't know, it's like sucking your own dick almost. Like it's just, hey guys, I went to the shops today and we did this and we did that. I don't know, like I said, I get the informative ones, I get the event coverage, I get it if they're a big personality, but like some of these people have big followings, no personality, their driving's boring. Like, why do you care? Follow someone better. So that's the bad side. Let's talk the good side. The good side is vloggers, hands down, responsible for creating and pushing this whole new direction of exactly what I talked about at the start of the podcast there. There's a whole different angle to this pro scene of, you know, there can be, you know, and events and their money can be injected back into drifting and whatnot. So they've done well. Like all these, you know, like the LZ World Tour, the Keep It Reek guys down there, they do with the Friday night drifts. Like, it's just allowed, yeah, all this money to be brought back in to say, I would say grassroots drifting, even though some of these guys are drifting pretty serious cars. But yeah, I think that's fucking unreal. And it's definitely got a lot more eyes on drifting, and it's made drifting a lot more popular, which, you know, that's good. Now, on the backside of that, it has made drifting more popular, and then that means some parts of drifting are fucking saturated now. You know, like there's like 38 different shirts tucked in style pages. You know, we don't need another one. All right? Like, people need to either A, just fucking hack being into drifting and not trying to be someone, because, like, you know, there's the point isn't to be someone, it's to create something and give something back. And, you know, the byproduct of that is you get more popular and whatnot. Like, if I could do fucking Reckon without being known, that'd be great. I'd love that. I honestly would. So yeah, you know, the saturation, yeah, but in saying that, it's good. It's good. We're just sort of at this weird crossroads, but we're always at a weird crossroads. You just keep charging. Nothing stays the same, you know. Change is inevitable, so adapt, grow, overcome. A good driving level. The driving level now is off the charts compared to 15 years ago. Like, compared to 15 years ago, everyone was munging in the straight, fucking second gear. Maybe Risky Devil is still in second gear. But yeah, you know, the driving level now, like the standard driver fucking would be an absolute beast 15 years ago. So that's cool. And the car knowledge, you know, everyone kind of knows what to do with their cars now. And then even the comp stuff, they're getting into some gnarly type of setups and whatnot. So just the progression in car knowledge and what that is great. Bad repost pages, fucking repost pages, man. Like, and I know a lot of my friends and mates, and I'm sure followers fucking follow repost pages, and some of them are really fucking good at capturing the aesthetic and vibe. But my whole thing is like I can just sit in this room right now, go on my computer, download all the clips, all the videos I need, chuck on the music, and then just chuck my logo over the top. I haven't been to a single event. I haven't interacted with a single driver, and I've just contributed nothing. And so you're essentially taking from the scene. So yeah, I hate it. I think it sucks. I get it, but how easy is it to just fucking whip up a repost page and then start selling merch? I do say it's easy. Don't get me wrong, it still requires a lot of work. You still got to fucking post. You still got to have the aesthetic right. But it's a lot easier than fucking having to spend your own money and go out and film and take photos and drive yourself and run your own events and, just contribute back. So I think repost pages, they're thieves. They're thieves in the grandest sense. And we're rewarding them. So, yeah, I don't know where that one ends. But, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, that's on that. But, yeah, like I said, drifting's exciting right now. It's different. It's different, but it's exciting. There's so many people. Like halfway hangs, I didn't get to go this year, but last year, like it just blew my mind how many young people there were. And like I'm only 33, so like I still see myself as young, but like I'm talking like 18-year-olds and stuff. And we used to be those 18-year-olds fucking 15 years ago, So yeah, it's exciting. It's cool, but I just hope everyone just sort of chills the fuck out. And I'll get into that on the 3 worst trends. So just because we're in sort of December right now, the top one, cringe Christmas donuts. I'm over it. It's been done. You doing a donut in a parking lot around a Christmas tree, wrapping it with tinsel, fucking sucks. It's been done. Come up with something new. Like, why don't you do like a big 4th gear tip in along the wall, and then you put like what are they called? Baubles? The balls you put on the Christmas trees, and put them on the wall, and you fucking shoot them up into the air. Or even better, like if you got a fucking bit of money to splash, fucking make them out of rubber, put some fucking jingles in it, so when you hit it, it fucking makes a Christmas tune, like those German roadways when you go offline. I don't know if they're German, but European. Like, fuck, do something different. People who equate their car to them. So I've said this to a few people, and it's quite surprising hearing people be like, "Oh, I never thought of it like that," because like I instantly think of it like that. But yeah, if you've got money, it's quite easy to buy a fucking body kit, wheels, and fucking paint it. It just comes down to money. Like you've done nothing original. Like I'm not talking about someone who's like like old school hot rodders. Create their car, like they forge the metal, and people who do custom cars like that. No, I'm purely talking about like all the fucking drift car, hot boy, fucking sexy boy, fucking stance, like all that shit. Like all you did was spend money, fucking put a body kit on, and then you're walking around like you're fucking 10 feet tall, and you can fucking barely hold on to a 3rd gear skid out of turn 6 at QR. That was me. I've done that. I've fucking spun out. Yeah, I just chill out. Like it's all well and good. You get popular, like people love cars and stuff, but just, don't walk around like your shit doesn't stink and don't think you're actually doing something crazy, You just put some money together and built a cool car. Now that's obviously put together a cool car. That's not getting at people that actually build and, go hectic and do all that unique, intricate stuff. I'm not going to that. Another cringe thing, engine debates. Oh, JZ versus RB, yeah, bro. Like, who gives a fuck? Honestly, whatever. Whatever you rung, bring it. Yeah, like I said, I care for the driving. I don't really give a fuck. Car's got to look cool, of course. Car's got to look cool. But I'm here for the driving. I couldn't give a fuck about what engine you run, as long as it works. All right. A little bit of a rant there, eh? All right, next question. And there's a few of them sort of here that all tied in. Favorite moment, if I could pick one memory over the Reom life, what sticks out? One moment that sticks out. Yeah, so I can't pick one moment. That's all sounding a bit Eminem, isn't it? But I can't pick one moment. And that might have to do with like a good majority of this Reom proceeding. As I alluded to earlier, you're always working on yourself. And another thing, I haven't been that present, because I do like to think deep, and then you find yourself thinking about things that don't matter when you're like in a really cool spot and stuff. So maybe that's what affects your memory. Like a fun little fact. The coaches and players that played with Michael Jordan, they said like a great thing that set him apart from everyone else was he was able to be just very present. So what's needed kind of thing. So take that as a little life lesson. Get yourself in present. But favourite sort of memory. So Scott Mitchell asked one of those. And I'm just going to... Billy's hit and run New Year's Eve parties. They were unreal. So a bunch of us used to fly down, hang out with the hit and run boys, and they all have a bit of money. And they really lived in nice houses with pools, and it was sick. But no, big shout outs to all those boys. They're all legends. And yeah, just great times just hanging out with them. It really was. But yeah, I mean, there was that one weekend where we all hung out at Bowman's and we went to World Time Attack, and, you know, we caught that bus to the party, and then the bus driver found out we were drifters, so started driving like a madman and went through that red light and locked up in the wet. Remember that? That was funny. But yeah, memories that stick out. Sorry, I'm waffling off here because, yeah, Scott Mitchell got me reminiscing. The boys winning. Anytime seeing the boys win, whether that's Matt at like Vic Drift or Keep It Re, Kyle Sheether at the Archie comps, Rombouts at Raceline, Ben Jenkins and Keske at D1NZ. It's always fucking sick to see the boys win. And, you know, like, yeah, that's, like I said, Reckham's about getting the good drivers. But yeah, I'll tell a few stories here because why not? We got some yarns, and you want some memories, you want some moments. So one that always sort of sticks out to me whenever I go to rally is the year that Kyle won Halfway King. You know, you go to Halfway, you enjoy some beers at night, you wake up the next morning feeling dusty, and you go again. So nothing was different this time, and we woke up and Kyle's feeling dusty. He's like, I can't find my keys. And we're like, oh, shit. So somewhere the night before, he's lost his keys. So me and Kyle are scouring around the campgrounds, looking at the grass, trying to find the keys. We find the keys. We finally get going. And then, yeah, we're cruising there, and Kyle's smoking a dart and, you know, just casually driving, sort of one-hand styles like that. And, yeah, we come around a corner, and he forgot there was a roundabout coming up. And we come around this corner and boom, we've been met with this roundabout. He still maintained the same speed. He wasn't speeding or anything. It was just boom, there's this object in front of us now. And yeah, without hesitation, he's just locked up and it's all on all four anchors, just going side to side. Dart still in the mouth, just brushes past the island, like saves it beautifully, and then just takes a dart. So yeah, that was hilarious. He went on to absolutely shred the day. And yeah, like I said, that was the year he won Halfway King. So that was fucking gold. Another one, the Winton Drift Mat Series, the Vic Drift Mat Series. They were always a treat at the pleasure park there. They used to get pretty loose. It was funny at that time. Do you remember vuvuzelas? From the World Cup, there were those big horns and it's like, and like everyone was doing that. Well, yeah, one of the boys had that, Kyle, and we're cruising around the pits. And I don't know if it was either Kyle, Kingy, or Ginger. It was one of them. All three of us were in the car. And yeah, we're just cruising through the pits, just being pests. And then there's a drifter in South Australia, OG, Simon Micklemore. He's deaf. So we're cruising through the pits. And then, yeah, one of the boys has just let it rip on the vuvuzela right in Micklemore's ear. And like we were just doing it at anyone. We didn't do it at him in purpose. And then we've sort of looked up and realised it was Simon. And we're like, we chose the one deaf guys. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Yeah, the Stewie getting, I've got Stewie getting yeah, what is that? Approved. I won't tell you who the drivers were, but Stewie made a judging decision one time and the drivers weren't happy. So they came up and it was at Calder Park. And so at Calder Park, where the judges and the commentators sit, it's about a kilometre walk on this hill to get down to the pits. So anyone that's coming from the pits, you can see for a kilometre. You know, they're coming to you for the next 10 minutes. So these drivers weren't pissed off. And to be honest, I kind of sided with them a little bit. Like, I get it. Like, Stewie's a very methodical operator with his things. So, yeah, like I said, I won't tell you who the drivers were, but they said, "You fucking white dog," to Stewie. Fuck, it was gold. It was gold. We can laugh in hindsight. Of course, a big standout is obviously the premiers at Irish Murphy's. Big shout outs to Zach Seaton and Christopher Macker for helping organising those. They were just an absolute time. It was just drifters unleashed, and not in the motive Andrew Hawkins sense. Like, it was, there was a guy that jumped off the balcony and broke both his legs. I forget his name. I can see his face perfectly. They also did $10 jugs, which, you know, I'm sure they thought, drifters will be able, 3 of them will be able to chip in on a jug. That'll be great. But no, it just ended up with every drifter walking around with a fucking jug, which is against alcohol laws. So yeah, the workers quickly came around and gave us all schooners. But yeah, so everyone's just walking around with a jug and a schooner, like, oh. Anywho, a lot of us got pissed, and yeah, it was a great time to finish off the night at Pancake Manor. So that was a treat. Obviously, like the Mayhan Day, this one was huge. Big shout outs to Aaron from JDM Garage. That's the old owner of JDM Garage. He's got nothing to do with the new owners now. And of course, Shane Bingham, Stacked. This was just, they were organising Mayhan Day, and they were like, should we call it the Reom Day? I was like, fuck yeah, that's unreal. So super cool to watch Nakamura and his boys absolutely cut sick. Yokoi was there, Ambrose, Supermaid. It was just fucking unreal. And you're just like, yeah, it's kind of like a pinch me moment. You're like, wow, this is insane. And then that same trip, got to go on the street with, on the streets of Nagoya there. I think Shane told him that I was from Speed Hunters. So yeah, that got us the access, and sometimes you gotta milk it a little bit. Shooting the TJ shoot, that was unreal. A bit of infiltration, bit of reconnaissance of information went down there. So big shout out to Tom Boys. We went and sussed it a week earlier, made sure it was going to be kosher. Big shout outs to Toby with the helicopter. The remote control helicopter who helped shoot that. There was no drones back in those days, and that was his first time shooting drifting. So what an initiation for Toby. And was super thankful I got home okay then, because falling asleep on the way home isn't good. But yeah, it was an up all night type of shoot. Honestly, like all that stuff is, there's so many. I could just keep here talking yarns about it, and I suppose I probably should. But stuff like this, I'm like, my head's just racing, going, bouncing from memory to memory, and I kind of forget the stories. And it's not until I probably hit the stop on the record button there, I'll be like, I should have said this. So, yeah, maybe we'll have to do more podcasts. Maybe. Oldest memory of drifting, probably watching Speed Week with my dad on SBS. That's not because Dad's into motorsport at all, but he was just watching TV on a Saturday arvo with his son. So yeah, that would have been a Drift Australia round. I definitely remember Ferds in the Auto Salon S15 and Darren Appleton, Bo Yatesy, Leighton Crabman Fine, all the fucking greats. They're the pioneers, obviously. So yeah, oldest physical seeing drifting memory would be at Parklands on the Gold Coast there. It was the old Gold Coast Showgrounds. An absolute little peanut of a track. I've surprised the drivers got into second, but fuck, it was still cool. And I was a little young go-getter, and they got me my first invite. Sam Holtz, Jansen Butler, they took me on board and took me on my first road trip to Tamworth, where Sam was like, I'll take you down, but you got to drink what we give you. And me being a young 18-year-old, was like, yeah, I'll drink whatever you get. Anywho, next thing I know, I was doing nudie runs down the middle of Tamworth, and passed out on the toilet vomiting on myself. So, hey, you get that on the big jobs and wreck 'em. Am I right? Shit, eh? What a time to be alive. What do you think of QR now to back then? Firstly, change isn't inevitable. Like, we've got to adapt, we've got to overcome, and that's why you've got to be present, so you can appreciate what's happening, and you don't be like, oh, I miss those days. Like, it's okay to miss those days, but you got to soak them in and deal with what's the now. So back then, there's a lot smaller community. There used to be a sausage sizzler at the end of a morning session, gold coin donation. Get yourself a solo, get yourself a snag and nuggin. Steve and Neil Lewis did Ripper with that. And yeah, it was kind of cool because all the marshals were drifters. So they understood the assignment, They saw the Corolla, they're like, hey, 100 meters, come on in. 100 meters run up, sorry, I should say. And also, everyone kind of loosely knew of each other. Even if you didn't directly know of each other, you still kind of did. And yeah, that allowed everyone to sort of, I don't know, just a nice little wave in pit lane. And people were more sort of, I feel like they were genuinely into drifting. Like, they understood what drifting was. And maybe we were super lucky, but everyone kind of understood the Japanese style and stuff and whatnot. Compare it to drifting at QR now. I just, not last Saturday, but a couple weekends ago, I did the all-day session. And it was fucking hot. Weird, right? In December in Queensland, it was hot. But we got to do all these different track layouts. Like, we did reverse 3 to 6, reverse dipper. I got to do reverse turn 2. It was unreal. I've never done that in 15 years of driving there. So it's cool they've got that. They've got the new switchback section. That's cool. But drifting's just way more popular now, which is great. It is a good thing. But then you do lose that sort of small connected feel. Everyone's sort of got their own sort of thing. And I don't think a lot of people... I don't think... I'll say some people, a lot is kind of like a generalization, but I don't think some people are into that sort of Japanese drifting or even just the mindset of drifting. So, you got a lot of people that are fucking, for instance, I'm trying to get a run up into turn 2 and people are just fucking dawdling. People are just cruising in front. Like, you'd never used to get that at Matsuris and stuff. And yeah, I suppose maybe I'm just comparing a morning session to an all day session, but I feel like the track etiquette was a little bit more higher because people sort of understood the assignment more. That's not hating on the newcomers. It just means they haven't been educated or, and they're not sort of thinking in that mindset. So, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, like I said, there's vloggers out there now. There's all sorts of different people from all different backgrounds, which is great. Does leave a little bit to be desired in the track etiquette department. But what do I think? Like, fuck, I still don't mind going there. I don't mind it at all. Like, it's all good. Yeah, just... And actually, even going on the marshals, Lockie, shout outs to Lockie from the all-day session, because he brought back that old school drifter marshal vibe. He was just sending us through. And yeah, that was cool. So, yeah... I think it's like in a growing stage again, yeah, we're bigger, yeah, we're more popular, but people are just sort of maybe learning the track etiquette sort of spiel again. Yeah, but I'm all for it. I don't mind it. We round up, we got some fun questions, but I did kind of just want to put it out there. Again, just a huge thank you to everyone, everyone that's supported and everyone that's come along the journey and just, yeah, a big one is like the boys chipping in. I really appreciate that. Like, I'm quite a difficult person to hang around, but I think a rewarding person. Yeah, I just, I've had my own issues of, like I said earlier in the podcast, like getting control of your emotions and whatnot. But, my passion and my heart's always been in the right place, and I think I can see the path that will see what everyone wants to see in drifting, but I just haven't been able to quite execute it. So I really do appreciate when all you guys reach out and message with your words of support, and all the boys and girls close to me, surrounding me, who help out with Reom and just help out with me as well. It truly means a lot. Yeah, let's get into some fun shit, eh? That was a little bit... Do podcast full time. Yeah, look, it's something I've always wanted to do. I'd actually love to do I've had an idea for about 3 years now, but again, this is something that I need to overcome. Little insecurities. I don't like putting myself out there, even though I do put myself out there. Yeah, I want to do like Monday Motorsport with Mez, and just a little recap from the weekend, and we just have a little spiel and just shoot the shit. It'd just be me. But yeah, if you guys would listen, let us know. Fuck yeah. We can sweat under this light a bit more for you. I don't mind. How does Stewie's hair feel against your sack? Yeah, so quick little behind story behind Jake's question there. Back in high school, there used to be a bloke, and he used to just sort of pop a nut out of his fly. And yeah, sorry, it's a little bit disgusting, but it's also kind of funny as well. And he'd just sit there and be like, "That's nuts." And yeah, it was funny. So my first use of that was on the Spirit of Tasmania, 2009, on the very trip that created Reom. And yeah, there was this drunk bloke who'd had a fair few many rums. Look, we've all been there. And he was a bit of a pest. So yeah, I just sort of snuck one out and I kept going, "That's nuts. That's nuts." And about a few minutes later, he picked up and he fucked off. So it worked a treat. And then about 13 years later, we're in the Northern Territory for Drift. Northern Territory? Fuck, I forgot their name. But they put on a great event there where they invite everyone from interstate. Anyway, Stewie was a judge. And this was after the event, so we've all had a fair few beerioses, and he's sitting down there in pit lane, and him and Matt Russell are just having an absolute yarn about something, and anyone that knows Stewie, he'll fucking get in depth on any topic. God bless him. I've got a lot of love and a lot of time for Stewie. But yes, I don't know why, but I decided to pull a nut out and just put it on his shoulder there, and I was gonna like wait for a gap in the conversation and be like, "Oh, you package delivery," or something along the lines of that. But it turns out like Stewie was so invested in the conversation he never noticed, and it got to the point where it was like feeling actually pretty awkward having my balls on a dude's shoulder for so long. So yeah, not even sure if Stewie is aware of that, but yeah, how did the hair feel against it? Yeah, it was quite nice. I think he must use conditioner. What happens when you run out of lines to explore? Blair, I've often thought about this. We've got to find a different track, but at the rate we're going, I think there's still plenty of lines to be explored, albeit they have been toned down. I'm not looking to get myself a red band from the big boys at Race Control down at Queensland Raceway. And Rally, if you go unexplored, you're going to stove a rim or an arm or something. So had to keep it pretty tame. Maybe when the budget increases, we'll just go loose. But yeah. I don't think we're running out anytime soon. Is Chunga a good wingman? No. Fuck no, he's not. That one's from Sean. And yeah, that alludes to this time we're at a bar in Melbourne, and I'd spilled a drink, and then some lady had come helped me with napkins and whatnot, and we were kind of hitting it off. And then yeah, we went our two ways, and then at the end of the night, I didn't know this at the time, but because I went to the toilet, everyone's walked out the front. And whilst they're out the front, this lady's asked Chunga, like, "Oh, does your friend have Instagram?" And Chunga, I don't know why, he explained it, and you're kind of like, all right. He goes, "Nah, he doesn't, he's not interested." I just walked out, and I walked out about 10 seconds after this, and I could just tell something awkward kind of happened. She turned away and fucked off. I was like, "Oh, see ya," like, and yeah, we got in the car, and it got explained, and yeah, I was not a happy boy. But hey, that happens. That happens. And it was funny. And I do love you, Chunga. I do. Hottest bearded guy. Yeah, Bowman, you're the winner every day of the week, brother. Every day of the week. Yeah, that rounds up all the questions you guys had. I hope I answered them. I know I can tend to waffle on a bit, and hopefully some of those yarns provide a bit of an insight. Yeah, I might have to just start writing them down, because I definitely didn't allude to too many stories. But rounding up, honestly, I know I've said it again, but thanks once again. Honestly, your support means the world. We're just getting started. I know it doesn't. I know saying we're just getting started at the 15-year mark. It's kind of like, well, fuck, maybe you should put your fucking ass into gear. And yeah, we really need to. And when I say we, me, need to pull the finger out. But to be honest, like it is kind of a hard juggle. I mean, this year I've never been more busier in my life, and I only managed to make it to 4 drift events. And 2 of those were events we organised, so Corolla Palooza and the Reom Driver Classic presented by Phoenix Radiators in New Zealand. The other two, the morning session I got to drive and the all-day session I got to drive. Oh, and actually I got to go to Jake Katz Rally Day with shirts tucked in, Casey. So getting to 5 events for the whole year, that's not good. But I also got to follow an Aussie racing car team. Big shout outs to Brendan Madden, Scott Andruski, Joe Andruski, and Risky Racing. And got to follow their whole season. So, got to go to Phillip Island, the Bend, Townsville, Gold Coast, Perth. At the start of the year, Triple One Racing, Darren Curry, Axel Donaldson, Rylan Gray, got to cover their journey at Bathurst 12 Hours. Like, I got to experience these things that I absolutely fucking love. So I wish I could kind of incorporate them into Reom more. And we'll get there, but it's, sort of a juggle. Also, the Sylvia's good to go, but my van had to put a new engine in that. So, it's just, for me, it's like forever a juggle, I feel. And I just don't know where to put all my eggs in which basket kind of thing. So I feel like I spread myself thin. But I kind of wouldn't have it any other way. Like I love everything about motorsport and drifting and whatnot, so I commentate. I organise events. I drive myself. I love taking photos and videos. I love promoting. I love making people laugh with just, mocking some of the shit that goes on. Like I love every single bit about it. So I feel like that, because of that, and I've stretched myself across all those categories instead of just focusing on, say, photos and videos and not driving at all, or just driving and not promoting anyone. I feel like it is going to take a significant amount of time longer, but I also feel like it's more rewarding and I wouldn't have it any other way. So stay tuned, see what we got planned, and thanks once again. And like I said, we're going to have some celebratory merch probably in the new year. Good things take time. But hey, thanks once again. Like, subscribe, share. Hey, love many, trust few, pay your own canoe. I used to think that was a stupid hippie spec statement from my grade 9 science teacher, Mr. Gibbs, but as I got older, geez, did it just resonate. You're like, fuck, you're onto it. Hey, good stuff. Life, living. Love yous.
'Cause real bad boys move in silence.